Look who rattled the spiritual analytics. Look who made a tarot reader sit back, blink twice, and wonder if their deck was malfunctioning or if you were the one bending the rules of interpretation. Look who moved through the unseen in such a peculiar way that a professional, someone who reads people through patterns, symbols, and the strange architecture of intuition, had to reshuffle their entire approach just to understand you. Welcome back, walking contradiction. Welcome back, beautifully unreadable presence. Welcome back to the individual whose energy isn't expressed, it radiates. And that radiance, that quiet, controlled force, is exactly what broke the reader's composure. They didn't whisper it to be dramatic. They didn't say it because the moment demanded theatrical delivery. They said it because the cards themselves left them no room to pretend. They're going to be kissing your ass in their nightmares. Here's what actually happened. The reader didn't pick up your deck gently. They hesitated before touching it, like they were about to interact with something that wasn't meant to be casually handled. They've read for hundreds of people, thousands even, skeptics, believers, the lost, the confused, the spiritually hungry. They've seen every unpredictable reaction possible: tears, joy, denial, validation, but they hadn't seen a deck behave like yours. When they placed their hand over it, the air shifted, not in a mystical way, more in the sense that their nervous system registered something off-pattern, something that didn't match the typical emotional signatures they usually read. You didn't show up as a problem. You showed up as a correction. You didn't carry confusion. You carried consequence. And that's what made the tarot readers start reconsidering their own training. They pulled the first card with the kind of caution usually reserved for discovering a trap door. It didn't flip. It dropped, landed flat on the table like an object making a point. The reader stared at it as if it were exposing something they weren't supposed to see. They leaned closer, eyes narrowing, studying the image like it was shifting under their gaze. What they saw wasn't about your past or your future. It was about the people who misread you. The ones who assumed your silence was weakness. The ones who thought their treatment of you carried no spiritual price. The card told the story they tried to avoid confronting. They underestimated the wrong person. The second card came out without resistance, but the reader's breathing changed. You didn't notice it, but inside their chest something tightened. Their mind flickered through memories, faces of clients who ignored warnings, people who spiraled after disregarding spiritual signals, individuals who tried to outrun consequences. But none of those cases matched what they were seeing now. You weren't someone who needed protection. You were someone whose energy created repercussions by existing. People who wronged you weren't just guilty. They were bound to experience the recoil. And the reader understood that instantly. When the third card fell, everything clicked for them. The trio formed a pattern they had only seen when dealing with individuals who carry a different type of spiritual pressure. People who walk through life with an invisible ledger around them. People who don't seek revenge, but whose mere presence rearranges the trajectory of those who try to interfere with them. The reader stared at the spread like it was a confession. Not yours, theirs. Because even they hadn't fully accepted how your energy operates. They had read cases involving karmic loops before, cycles of cause and effect playing out over long periods. But your reading didn't show a slow arc. It showed an instant snapback. No timeline, no delay, no warning. Anyone who wronged you wouldn't dream peacefully again. That's when the reader said the line so casually, it almost sounded like an accident. They're going to be kissing your ass in their nightmares. They didn't mean it as flattery. It wasn't a compliment. It was an observation. Your energy doesn't just return what was given, it magnifies it. People who disrespected you aren't just going to remember you. They're going to relive their treatment of you in the one place humans lose control, their dreams. You're not haunting them, their own behavior is. You're not pursuing them, their conscience is doing the work for you. You've become the gravitational point their mind keeps circling, whether they want it or not. And the tarot reader saw that truth in a way that made them uncomfortable. They tried to proceed with the reading like normal. They shuffled again. They breathed deeper. Trying to ground themselves, they repositioned the deck. But every time they touched a card connected to you, something in their expression twitched. Not fear, more like forced composure. They kept seeing you in ways they didn't know how to articulate. Your energy didn't behave like a client hoping for reassurance. It behaved like someone carrying weapons made of experience, self-control, and emotional restraint, sharper than anything the tarot imagery could soften. You weren't showing up as prey, not even close. Your cards showed the behavioral signatures of someone who had evolved past victimhood, someone who doesn't plead for clarity, someone who becomes clarity, someone who doesn't chase closure, someone who embodies consequence, someone who doesn't need revenge because people sabotage themselves after targeting you. And the tarot reader wasn't prepared to read for someone built like that. The next card revealed something that caught even you off guard. It wasn't about love, finances, opportunity, or obstacles. It was the card that shows up for people who have reached a stage where retaliation isn't even necessary because the universe handles the response automatically. The reader looked at that card like they were holding a document stamped with a warning label. And internally, they thought something they refused to say aloud. If anyone crosses you now, they'll regret it faster than they can explain what happened. Your energy didn't come off as aggressive. It came off as inevitable force. Not the kind of force that destroys, the kind that exposes, the kind that makes people confront their worst traits when they interact with you, the kind that drags their subconscious out of hiding. You're not punishing them, they're punishing themselves. And that's what turns into the nightmares the tarot reader mentioned. People who mistreated you are going to see you as the central figure in their guilt, their confusion, their unrest. You're the one image their mind can't push away. Whether you speak or stay quiet, your presence becomes the mirror they can't escape. That mirror is the real nightmare. The reader pulled another card to clarify. It didn't clarify anything. It intensified the entire situation. Your reading started showing the psychological architecture of someone who has grown into a figure others are forced to reckon with in the most private spaces of their mind. You're not physically present in their lives anymore. You don't have to be. Their dreams become the stage where their regret performs. The tarot reader saw that and realized the gravity of it. The line wasn't metaphor. It was the literal translation of what the cards implied. The people who wronged you will bow in their sleep because their subconscious knows what their ego denies. And ego always loses the fight when the mind shuts down for the night. Your reading grew heavier with every card. Not dark, heavy. A kind of heaviness you only see in people who carry high spiritual pressure without even trying. The tarot reader noticed something strange. Your cards weren't focused on what's coming for you. They were focused on what's coming for others because of you. Every image pointed to impact, recoil, recognition, unavoidable emotional reflection happening inside the people who doubted you. You weren't the one making anything happen. The universe, karma, justice, whatever word you want to use, had already taken your case. And once that happens, no one escapes the outcome. The reader didn't tell you everything they saw, not because they didn't want to, but because they weren't entirely sure how to phrase it. The truth is that your reading exposed a pattern of energetic reversal. When people try to wound you, the wound returns to them amplified. When they try to undermine you, they undermine themselves. When they try to forget you, their subconscious keeps replaying the moments they mishandled you. It's not supernatural punishment. It's psychological correction. You represent the lesson they refused to learn. And the dream world is where that lesson repeats until absorbed. The last card you pulled in this session wasn't an ending. It was a reveal. It showed that you've entered a stage where your presence is a catalyst, not destructive, directive. You shift the trajectory of any person who attempts to control, belittle, or deceive you. Their mind bends around the truth of who you are long after you walk away. That's why the tarot reader spoke the line with such unfiltered accuracy. They weren't making a prediction, they were describing a consequence, and you didn't need to do anything. You didn't need to confront anyone. You didn't need to prove your worth. Your energy already handled the work for you. And this is where the reading stops behaving like a reading. This is where it turns into something closer to observation. The tarot reader didn't just interpret what the cards said. They felt what the cards meant. Your energy has shifted into a phase where nobody who mistreats you leaves without paying a psychological toll. Not because you're vengeful, but because your presence carries the weight of every lesson you've earned, every hardship you've metabolized, every boundary you've built out of experience instead of ego. People don't meet your energy, they collide with it. And the tarot reader knew that anyone who tries to step into your path now isn't walking toward victory. They're walking toward uncomfortable self-reflection disguised as recurring dreams. Because whether they admit it or not, they know exactly what they did. And deep down, they know exactly why you're the one their mind keeps summoning at night. The reader sat there longer than they meant to, their fingers hovering above the cards like they were debating whether to continue or put the deck away entirely. This wasn't the type of reading that gets wrapped with soft reassurance or uplifting predictions. This wasn't the typical trust the process script readers fall back on when they're uncertain. No, your spread gave them the kind of clarity that hits like a slap made of truth instead of aggression. They weren't confused, they were unsettled, because your cards didn't portray you as someone walking through a chapter. They portrayed you as someone closing other people's chapters without even knowing you're doing it. The next card that fell out didn't fall gently. It slid out with that eerie confidence you only see when the deck decides to speak before the reader asks. It carried imagery that pointed toward confrontation, but not physical confrontation, internal confrontation. The kind where someone starts dreaming about you not because they miss you, but because their mind is replaying the exact moment they underestimated you, the exact minute they tried to undermine your worth, the exact second they assumed you were harmless. The tarot reader tapped the card lightly, trying to decide how to explain what they were seeing without sounding dramatic. But dramatic or not, the message was clear. They're terrified of the reflection you force them to face when their guard is down. Your presence doesn't threaten people. Their conscience does. The reader leaned back, letting their breath out slow, because now they understood why the cards kept doubling down. You've entered a stage where your growth has activated something in the collective energy around you. Not chaos, not revenge, consequence. You have a kind of gravity now, a pull that drags truth out of the people who encounter you, whether they want it or not. And the ones who wronged you feel that pull the strongest. They feel it when they try to sleep, when their mind finally relaxes enough to stop pretending. That's when you show up, not as a villain, not as a saint, but as the unresolved moment they keep avoiding. The tarot reader flipped another card, and this one looked almost amused. There was a sharpness in its symbolism, a humor buried deep in the imagery, like the deck itself was acknowledging the irony of people who tried to harm you, now waking up drenched in regret over situations they created. The reader tilted their head, studying the card with a faint frown. They whispered something like, "Of course," but didn't elaborate. You didn't need them to. You could feel the shift yourself. You've watched people act bold in the daylight only to avoid eye contact when the truth catches up at night. The cards were simply confirming what you've always sensed. Your name sits heavy in the minds of those who thought you wouldn't rise. The reader found themselves tracing patterns on the table, patterns that didn't matter but helped them think. Because the deeper they went into the reading, the more they realized they weren't predicting events. They were diagnosing reactions, human reactions, guilty reactions. The type of reactions that don't show up on faces, but show up in dreams, where someone wakes up gasping for air, because the version of you that lives in their subconscious refuses to let them escape accountability. You didn't ask for this influence. You didn't cultivate it intentionally. You became this through endurance, through emotional intelligence, sharpened by necessity, through learning when to detach and when to stand firm. People always assume spiritual strength looks gentle, peaceful, endlessly forgiving. But your cards tell a different story. They show a person who isn't vindictive, but is no longer willing to carry the weight of other people's wrongdoing. And when you stop carrying that weight, guess who picks it up? The ones who created it. The tarot reader pulled a clarifying card, and the symbolism was almost brutal in its honesty. It displayed the consequences of interacting with someone whose energy has crossed into a higher threshold. Not holy, not dark, just accurate. You've become the type of person whose aura triggers self-correction in others, even if that correction arrives through nightmares, intrusive thoughts, and emotional discomfort. You're not causing their distress, you're interrupting their denial. The reader rubbed their temples. They weren't overwhelmed, they were impressed. Your reading wasn't chaotic, it was clean, it was structured. Every message followed a predictable logic. Anything done against you returns as a lesson sharper than the original offense. Not because you demanded it, but because the universe doesn't waste its time on people who refuse to treat you properly. And the reader realized something important. The people dreaming about you aren't dreaming about conflict. They're dreaming about regret. Regret is a language the subconscious speaks fluently. The next card carried imagery representing exposure. Not exposure of secrets, but exposure of intentions. This card appears when the masks people wear slip off in their own dreams. Their subconscious replays their behavior toward you, stripped of excuses, stripped of narratives, stripped of ego. They see the truth about themselves in a way they would never admit while awake. And in every replay, you appear not as the wounded party, but as the measuring stick, proving how badly they misjudged you. The tarot reader traced the outline of that card with their finger. They weren't looking at the art, they were looking at the implication. People who crossed you aren't just thinking about you at random. They're being confronted with the version of you they tried to bury, silence, or diminish. And that version of you doesn't speak. It doesn't argue. It doesn't explain. It just exists. Your silence in their dreams is louder than anything you could ever say to them in person. You've become the symbol their conscience uses to hold them accountable. And the reader wasn't sure how to tell you that without sounding like they were exaggerating. So instead they pulled another card, hoping the message would soften. It didn't. This one was sharper, clearer, almost cold in its precision. Your energy is in a phase where clarity is the only thing you produce. You don't create confusion. You create unmistakable cause and effect loops. People who harm you suffer emotionally. People who doubt you get humbled. People who ignore your worth end up remembering you in ways that keep their ego bruised long after the day is over. You are the lesson they didn't want, but now can't escape. The reader inhaled, held the breath, and exhaled as if preparing to translate a truth too blunt to phrase delicately. They finally said something they had been holding in since the first 3 cards fell. Your energy doesn't punish, it reveals. The way they said it wasn't mystical, it was diagnostic. They weren't describing spiritual power. They were describing psychological impact. People who mistreat you don't face supernatural retaliation. They face themselves. And that confrontation terrifies them more than anything you could ever do. You didn't chase them. Their conscience dragged them back. The reader pulled another card, one that represented cycles ending for other people, not for you. At first glance, it looked like a card of closure, but the reader saw the nuance immediately. The closure wasn't your responsibility. It wasn't your job to finalize anything. Your only role was existing authentically. The rest happened naturally. The card showed that those who wronged you would replay every action they took, not because they cared about you, but because their subconscious wants to correct what their ego refused to handle. And the dreams? They're not nightmares in the cinematic sense. They're worse. They're reflective. They're confrontational. They're accurate. And in every scenario, the people who mistreated you find themselves trying to undo damage, trying to apologize, trying to justify themselves, trying to earn back a dignity they threw away themselves. That's what kissing your ass in their nightmares really means. It's not physical groveling. It's psychological submission. It's the collapse of ego during sleep. It's the realization of what they lost and what they failed to appreciate. Your spirit doesn't haunt them. Their guilt does. The tarot reader knew this, but they also knew you weren't looking for revenge. And that's what actually makes your energy so potent. You moved on, you grew, you elevated, you healed in ways that left no residue of bitterness. And once you heal, people who mistreated you lose access to the version of you they felt comfortable attacking. They can't reach the new version. They can't influence it. They can't manipulate it. So the only access point left is their dreams. Their subconscious becomes the last place where they can interact with you. And that interaction looks nothing like the dynamic they once thought they controlled. The reader pulled another card, one that pointed to protection. But not protection in the conventional sense. Protection through detachment, protection through clarity, protection through evolution. You aren't being shielded from your past. You've outgrown it. Anyone still trying to damage you is interacting with a ghost of who you used to be, not with you. And ghosts don't defend themselves. They force reflection simply by existing. The tarot reader realized the real message wasn't about what's coming to you. It was about what's coming to others because of you. You've shifted into an energy where your presence is enough to activate consequences, not destruction, awareness. And that awareness is uncomfortable for the people who thought they would never answer for the way they treated you. The reason the reader said they'll be kissing your ass in their nightmares is simple. The subconscious bows to truth, even when the ego refuses to. And your truth is unavoidable now. Anyone who wronged you is going to realize it. Maybe not in public, maybe not in conversation, but privately, at 3 in the morning, when their guard is down, when their mind starts replaying scenes without their permission, that's when the bowing happens. That's when the apologies form. That's when the regret crystallizes into something they can't shake off. And the tarot reader pulled one last card before ending the session. A card that doesn't appear often. A card that shows spiritual maturity paired with emotional accuracy. The card looked serene at first, but the reader knew better. This wasn't serenity, it was power in a resting state. This card appears for individuals who have crossed the threshold from wounded to wise. People who have been through enough to develop an internal compass that never betrays them. People who don't chase validation because they've learned that validation is currency for the insecure, not the evolved. You are no longer someone people can toy with. You are someone people dream about because they can't outrun the truth you represent. The reader placed the deck down slowly. They didn't close the session with a prediction. They closed it with a statement. Your energy is self-regulating now. They didn't mean your emotions. They meant your consequences. You don't have to teach anyone a lesson. They teach themselves once they face the version of you that lives inside their subconscious. The room shifted after that sentence, not in a mystical sense, but in a psychological one. You could feel the weight of the reader's words settling into the space between the two of you. It was the kind of statement that doesn't echo outwardly, but resonates internally, like a bell struck behind your ribcage. The tarot reader wasn't trying to impress you. They were trying to prepare you. There are certain individuals whose energy evolves into an active force, and you've crossed into that territory. It's the phase where your presence transforms from reactive to catalytic. You no longer respond to energies, you alter them. And anybody stepping into your orbit is going to feel that shift, whether they want to or not. The reader picked up the last card again, turning it between their fingers like they were trying to understand why you, of all people, were the one this card chose. They knew what it meant. You weren't simply stepping into a new season. You were stepping into a higher frequency of perception. That level of clarity isn't peaceful. It's sharp. It's precise. It's honest. It strips illusions from people without their permission. And the reason they end up dreaming about you isn't because you're haunting them. It's because their denial can't shield them anymore. Their mind uses your image as a teacher, a mirror, and occasionally a judge. Not because you want authority over them, but because your growth forces them to confront their own stagnation. The tarot reader took a slow breath, bracing themselves, because there was something they hadn't said yet, something they didn't intend to reveal, but the card demanded it. There's another reason they keep seeing you at night, they finally said, their voice low. They're replaying the moments they mishandled you, but they're also seeing the version of you they never believed existed. You raised an eyebrow, not out of curiosity, but out of recognition. You've felt this shift. You've seen it in the way people stare a little longer, speak a little softer, tread a little more carefully. You've seen it in their avoidance, in their sudden politeness, in their "the world is small" messages they swear are innocent. The dreams are only the beginning. The realization is the real punishment. The reader continued. Your energy holds truth. And truth doesn't stay dormant. It shows up wherever the mind is weakest. Night is where their guard drops. Night is where their excuses collapse. Night is where they can't hide from what they did. And because your energy is tied to truth, you appear, not as a threat, but as a reminder. There was no pride in the way they said it, no exaggeration, just factual understanding. You've become the face of their accountability, and that is why they keep dreaming of you. Not once, not occasionally, but repeatedly, as though their subconscious is on a loop they can't shut off. They aren't dreaming about what they did. They're dreaming about how wrong they were to do it. And each time they see you, the version of you the dream presents is stronger, calmer, more composed, more unshakable. The dream doesn't depict the version of you they mistreated. The dream shows the version of you that survived them. That's what terrifies them. The tarot reader didn't sugarcoat it. They leaned forward, elbows on the table, the weight of the reading still pressing on their thoughts. Your evolution is teaching them lessons their ego refused to learn, they said. And the more you rise, the harder their subconscious hits them with memories they tried to bury. They paused, glancing at you. You're the reminder they can't mute. The cards reflected something more profound than karma. Karma is passive. What you carry now is active. It's the spiritual equivalent of a warning label attached to your aura. Mishandle at your own risk. Not because you'll retaliate, but because the universe will correct the situation on your behalf. People who mistreated you are not afraid of you. They're afraid of what their dreams reveal about them when you show up. They see their mistakes clearly for the first time. They replay the disrespect in uncomfortable detail. They feel the weight of consequences in ways reality never forced them to feel. They wake up disoriented, heart racing, wondering why the person they tried to dismiss is now the most dominant figure in their subconscious. And if you think that's an exaggeration, consider how guilt works. It doesn't tap politely. It barges in. It doesn't whisper. It repeats. It doesn't show the truth gently. It drags it out. And when someone has wronged a person with your level of spiritual force, their subconscious has only one available teacher, the image of you they didn't respect. And in that dream, they're not the ones in control. You are. The tarot reader slid the last card toward you, not for you to take, but for you to understand. This card only appears for people who have surpassed their old identities, they said. It means you're no longer living as the version of yourself that others thought they could manipulate. The reader continued. You've entered a phase where your presence rewires interactions. It changes people. It forces them to confront their truth. You're a catalyst now, not by choice, by nature. They looked almost amused, but in a quiet way, like they were piecing together why your path has always been so unconventional. This is why your connections feel intense, why your intuition misses nothing, why your detachment unsettles people. You don't give them the reaction they expect, and that frustrates their ego. When ego is frustrated, the subconscious compensates through dreams. And there it was, the truth in its simplest form. You don't haunt them, their own behavior does. You're just the face their mind chooses to attach to the guilt. You're the symbol, you're the anchor, you're the memory. And because dreams exaggerate what the waking mind tries to suppress, they see you larger than life. They see you wiser than they remember. They see you calmer than they ever expected. And in the most ironic twist, they see you as the person they should have never crossed. This is why they bow in their dreams. This is why they apologize in their sleep. This is why they wake up sweating. muttering your name with that strange mix of panic and regret. The dream forces them to treat you with the respect they refused to give you in reality. That's the kissing your ass part the tarot reader mentioned. Not literal obedience, but subconscious submission. The ego collapses under truth. The dream restores the hierarchy. And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to confront or explain or return to old situations demanding closure. Your absence is enough. Your energy is enough. Your evolution is enough. It's working while you sleep. It's teaching while you heal. It's correcting while you grow. And the people who wronged you are facing the consequences in private, in the one place they can't perform, lie, or pretend. The tarot reader wasn't finished. They shuffled the cards again, not to continue the reading, but as a grounding habit, something they did when the air grew thick with unspoken truth. Then, with a seriousness they rarely showed, they said, "There is something else you need to know." You waited. Your dreams are shifting too. You didn't react outwardly, but internally, a quiet recognition formed. You've felt the shift. You've seen the signs. Your dreams don't feel like dreams anymore. They feel like messages, not predictions, not warnings, but confirmations. You're not dreaming from fear or confusion. You're dreaming from strength. Your subconscious isn't replaying your traumas. It's reorganizing your identity. It's updating your boundaries. It's sharpening your intuition. Your dreams are showing you what to accept and what to avoid. They're teaching you what your waking mind sometimes overlooks. You're not revisiting old memories, the tarot reader explained. You're being guided. Your mind is sorting out who deserves access and who's been permanently removed. They tapped the card again. Your dreams are building a new internal map where old energies no longer exist. This is why you felt more distant from certain people. This is why interactions feel different. This is why your tolerance has shrunk. It's not bitterness. It's alignment. Your spirit doesn't allow unfinished cycles anymore. It doesn't allow false connections. It doesn't allow manipulation disguised as affection. Your dreams are the realm where your spirit makes decisions your waking mind later agrees with. You aren't dreaming for closure anymore, the reader said. You're dreaming for direction. The reader studied you carefully, measuring whether you understood the gravity of that. Your subconscious is preparing you for something bigger than this reading, bigger than the people who mishandled you, bigger than the cycles you've outgrown. It wasn't a prophecy. It wasn't wishful thinking. It was an observation of how your energy behaved within the card spread. Every symbol pointed upward. Every card pointed forward. Every message pointed toward elevation. You're not in a phase of reclaiming your power. You're in a phase of defining it. And that's exactly why the people who wronged you are feeling the heat. Not because you're vengeful, but because your evolution exposed how small they acted while thinking they were superior. Nothing humbles someone faster than realizing you became powerful without needing to retaliate. The tarot reader tapped the table lightly, drawing your eyes back to the final card. They spoke slowly, deliberately, as if translating a spiritual truth into human language. When people mistreat someone who is meant to rise, they become attached to the memory of that mistake. Their gaze sharpened, and when you rise fast, their mistake haunts them faster. That's the part they didn't want to say earlier, because it's heavy, it's uncomfortable, it's raw. Your ascension is their nightmare, not because they hate you, not because they fear you, but because they see what they could have had access to if they treated you properly. They see the version of you that no longer includes them, They see the future they aren't part of, and their subconscious punishes them by reminding them of it every night. That's the bowing. That's the apologizing. That's the dream submission. Their mind forces them to acknowledge what their ego destroyed. The reader rested their hands on the table as if the weight of the reading had finally finished pressing down. "This energy you carry," they said softly. "It's rare, it's earned, and it changes people, even after you're gone from their life." You felt it, deep down, in that quiet place where truth settles, before it rises into understanding. You've always known you were different. You've always felt the shifts before anyone else. You've always sensed who belonged in your world and who didn't. The cards simply articulated it in a way that leaves no room for denial. The tarot reader leaned back, studying you one last time. You're entering a chapter where your dreams guide you and their dreams correct them, they said. You're rising without needing them, and they're remembering you without wanting to. Then they delivered the final line, the one that seals the entire reading, the one that defines this new phase of your life. You don't have enemies anymore. You have involuntary students. They didn't say it as a joke. They said it because the cards demanded the truth to be spoken plainly. Every person who mishandled you is now learning lessons they can't escape, delivered in dreams they can't control. And every night they see you, it won't be because you're lingering. It'll be because their conscience refuses to let them hide. They'll keep bowing in their dreams until they finally accept what they denied. You were the one they shouldn't have crossed. And here's the twist. While they're losing sleep over misjudging you, you're sleeping better than ever. Because the moment you stepped into this new energy, you stopped carrying burdens that weren't yours. Your subconscious is aligned. Your intuition is clear. Your boundaries are reinforced. You don't dream of what hurt you anymore. You dream of what's coming next. And that's the real difference now. They dream of their mistake. You dream of your future. They bow to the guilt. You rise in your purpose. They replay the past. You rewrite your next chapter. That's the power behind the tarot reader's statement. Not fear, not revenge, not aggression, just truth. They're going to be kissing your ass in their nightmares, not because you demanded it, but because their conscience finally caught up. And your rise is the one thing they can't sleep through anymore.